Are we ready?
We are ready. I'm incompetent, I'm sorry.
What are we called?
We are called Considered and Conceited.
We'll have to work out who's who. Maybe.
Hello.
Is anybody there? No, it's all good.
All for us.
And you, the listener, if you're there.
It's all about me.
Are we ready?
We are ready for take 2.
Just for you listeners out there, this is the second time we are doing this because Paul's accidentally deleted the other one.
I'm incompetent, I'm sorry.
We should call ourselves incompetent instead. What are we called?
We are called Considered and Conceited.
And we'll have to work out who's who. But what are our names?
My name is Paul.
And who am I?
I don't know. If you can't say by now, there's something seriously wrong.
Well, we know there's something seriously wrong, but I am Pip.
Okay, and what we're doing here today for the second time is trying to put together a podcast, a very professional podcast, that where we're going to discuss with a three-way conversation between myself, Pip, and the listener about various movies.
The listener won't be able to say anything.
Well, yes, but I mean, they can, as I said, they can howl out the window if they want to.
So really, this is a movie critiquing podcast?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
What we're going to attempt to do is we're going to rotate it on a like 4-movie rotation.
So what are these 4 movies?
Well,
or do you want me to do that?
You can tell me because it's your idea. So.
Oh, well, I'm almost changing my idea now, which I haven't talked to you about. So.
Oh, well.
But anyway.
Well, hang on.
No, don't pause it. What we had decided was that we'd do new movies, so anything 2017, 2018.
Right.
The next category would be classics, so pre-1979 movies that were classics in, sort of. Obscure movies, so movies people may not have seen. Yes. And then our favourites, either your favourite or my favourite, because they're not always the same thing.
No, they're not. And my favourites will be the section where I get back at Pip.
Well, I was worried now because after you said, hey, you've got no action films in those obscure sections or in this section, I thought, should I have a action section or a comedy section or romance? But I guess they'll come out in all the other sections anyway, won't they?
If the listener would rather, this is why it's a 3-way conversation. We've got our Facebook page up, and we'll soon have a web page up as well.
Will we?
Yeah, eventually. But we do have a Facebook page up, so you can come and talk to us on there.
If there's a movie you'd like us to critique, we can.
Or a category, or if you think that there's a better way, or if you think that, no, the obscures are really obscure and there is a reason for the fact that they're obscure because they're all shit.
But we'll save people time. Because we'll say they're shit and then people will go, that's it, it's not on my list.
It's not on my list. Plan 9 from
So it's only our time we're wasting.
Yes, the world's worst movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
So this is a new movie, so... What is this movie?
Okay, the first movie, straight off the mark,
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Is it still Episode 1?
1.1.
Okay,
yes,
1A.
Because this may not make it to the end of the cut, because we'll...
Delete it, have to do it again.
The first one is, everybody's on tenterhooks now, you see. We could stretch this out for a good 15 minutes. The first episode is The Showman.
Yes, we both watched The Greatest Showman.
Pardon me. Yes, look, would you like to start off?
No, you can start. What did you think of The Greatest Showman, Paul?
Well, okay. Well, I thought the choreography was superb. I thought that the music was not placed well for the time period. The singing and talent that was demonstrated by the actors was excellent, as you would expect with anything with Hugh Jackman attached to it. So I have a little man crush for Hugh Jackman. I think he's pretty good.
I have noticed that.
Yes. Well, I am from the theatre, you know.
For those listeners who don't know, Paul used to do theatre.
Theatre, yes, that's right.
He likes getting out there and singing and jumping on stage.
Yes. And Pip's a musician.
No, I'm not a musician.
Oh, well, you play the triangle in the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra.
there's someone out there going, that was me! No, I never did that. We're not even in Melbourne.
Okay, no, we're not. We're elsewhere. So, yes.
We're in country.
We're in the country, if you can't work that out. Yep. But we do have the internet, so here we are. So, look, I loved it. I'll be straight up and down about that. I thought the film was introduced to me by my 4-year-old son, who loves it and thinks it's the greatest film ever. In fact, he's in the next room right now, listening to The Greatest Showman.
Is he really?
He really is.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and he's singing along and,
So another man for the theatre in the future.
A man for the theatre. I don't think he'll be in the theatre. I don't think he sings in tune well enough.
Oh, no, he's only 4. You can't say that.
No, he should be all singing and all dancing by now.
Child
if
prodigy.
It was good enough for Shirley Temple. Yeah, Temple. It's good enough for my son, my little prince. It's his favourite film. So he introduced it, and I found out how, because I had it and I had it turned on sort of thing, and he was in bed and I was just going to sit down and watch it, and he could hear it from the other bedroom sort of thing, and when I turned it off, for whatever reason, I can't remember now, he just the howls of anguish, and he was utterly distraught, and I couldn't work out what was going on. I thought his leg had been amputated or surgically removed or something like that without anaesthetic. So yeah.
Well, my kids haven't watched it yet because people won't know this, but I'm one of those parents who watches everything before my kids are allowed to watch it, just to make sure it's okay.
Chugga 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 chugga. That's the sound of a helicopter there.
No, it's the sound of a responsible parent.
We've had a very long friendship, myself and Pip, and we've come to the conclusion that I'm in fact a tiger parent, and Pip is a helicopter parent, and she hovers over them, in a protective mode.
Do not.
Oh, you really do quite a lot.
Anyway.
A lot. Go on.
Back on the path.
Yeah, sorry.
I think this film, I think this film is actually really good for kids, because it's all fantasy and music and wonderful and amazing, and also it only introduces, doesn't go into great depth about inequality. The actual problem with being a 19th century freak. Yes. I mean, these things kids have to become aware of, because they're going to see people who look different, or like for instance, my daughter saw a lady going down the street the other day who was disfigured in the face. And she was talking to her girlfriends, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, what's wrong?" She was almost, I wouldn't say frightened, but just a bit wary.
It was a bit.
And of course, this woman's fine, and she's there with a friend. She's talking, and there's no issues. I hadn't even noticed until she brought it up. But I said, well, there's nothing different about this woman. And I think the great thing about this film is you can start introducing these things, that these people are just like every other person, audience, without it being too heavy for them. Sure. So,
and it certainly surpasses all expectations in that.
I know a lot of people complain that it didn't go deep enough, didn't delve into those thoughts enough. That's right, because the man was a monster. Yes, but it's PG. It's not M. It shouldn't be M. It should have been rated R, at very least. I mean, P.T. Barnum had, amongst various other things. What I suggest people do, if they want to delve further into this particular argument of, the P.T. Barnum of The Greatest Showman, and the P.T. Barnum of actual history, they'd be pretty well served to listen to a podcast called The Dollop. Do they talk about P.T. Barnum? Yes, they do a whole dollop on him. Do they? They do. You should listen to it. You definitely listen to it, because you'll sit there and you'll just go, "Oh my God." Well, the problem is I haven't heard it yet, because I'm only up to episode 14. Yeah. Because you're going through it. But that's it. If you wanted to, I'll give you permission, if you like, to skip forward. Ahead. To skip forward and listen to that one, because it's astonishing. But again, this is for the family. It's a family film. I mean, that's how it's a family film. The music is superb, very well crafted. Again, not for
what I would have thought. It's not it's not a Hello Dolly or anything like that.
Well, no, it's not supposed to be. I mean, they want the songs to be catchy. I mean, they had Justin Paul and Ben Pasek they did La La Land.
Yes.
And they had them do the lyrics because they wanted, catchy songs that people remember because they're trying to get that audience.
Yes, well, they certainly would have got them. And look, and they would have made the correct assessment because, like, after several viewings, I love the music and, I didn't give a toss by that stage of the game.
The storyline. I don't care.
I
want to see them dancing.
Just bring it on. More music.
Well, I mean, they had such talented singers and dancers as well. I mean, the whole cast was just awesome.
They were superb.
I love Letty. Letty, the bearded lady, she has such a voice.
Yes, it was she. She's a bearded lady. She's a large black woman who has a staggeringly good soul voice, like big voice, very high.
Well, she's a Broadway singer.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it because, wow.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and everyone did a wonderful job singing and dancing, but I thought she was great.
She was great and she had a lot of soul in there. And I don't mean that in the soul. I mean, she was just...
I know, she
had the real attitude of everybody.
She acted well too,
yes.
so,
she pulled it off, And of course, Hugh Jackman did his normal, exceptionally polished... No, I'm not going to the whole man crush thing on the second episode. No, sorry. I'm not, no.
Oh my gosh, did you see Hugh Jackman? He was fabulous. Yes, Paul, I saw Hugh Jackman.
You're such a bitch. Okay, look, as I said, triple threat. What can I say? Yeah.
Though, I have to confess.
Yes.
You
didn't like the wife, did you? Come on, be honest.
That wasn't actually my confession, but
you didn't, did you?
I think I was looking at it too much as an adult, where I was going, "Oh, she didn't get the chance to say, yo, Barnum, you horrible bugger, bastard, whatever."
Yes.
Because we didn't get to delve. I mean, she got a whole song for herself, yes, but she didn't get the whole. He just got to walk back in her life. She forgave him really easily. Where there could have been a little bit more, in him.
Well, it is the 19th century. They took marriage very seriously.
But if they're going to make the film for this time era, they've got to do that as well. I can't have it both ways.
Well, they might as well just do it in the 20th century and be done with it. Sorry, the 21st century now. For all you millennials down there. So, yes.
But no. My confession was that I didn't realise that the trapeze artists, why they were being, they said, they won't like us being here. And I thought, what's wrong with trapeze artists?
This is you being naive, is it?
Yes, this is my naive moment.
Yes, go on.
So I thought, it actually took me to the end of the film when Barnum and Bennett from the Herald, the guy who was doing the paper stuff, were talking about, he's going about colour and, equality and all that sort of thing. I thought, oh no, I totally missed that. Is that... Oh. Well, I didn't register, which made me feel, oh gosh. So obviously, the whole storyline and the whole idea of the film would have been lost on me in an adult film anyway, so.
Yeah, what do you think of Bennett? Just out of curiosity.
Bennett was one of my favourites.
Really?
As in the fact that Bennett and Barnum, when their conversations were occurring, I thought that's what kept the storyline moving on. You got to see parts of Barnum, and I thought it was, actually, they were my favourite bits of the film.
Yep.
Which is stupid because most people go, wouldn't it be the singing and the dancing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Well, that's your preference for intellectual stuff, I think. I
don't have a preference for intellectual stuff.
You do.
I like a healthy mix.
You like a healthy mix with lots of intellectual stuff. Yes.
No, I can watch dumbed down stuff as long as it's not constant.
Man with sword.
I'm guessing when your favourites come up will be, hi, Pip, watch this film. Man kills someone for 40 minutes.
Yeah. But he does it slowly. And he recites poetry while he's driving the broadsword into his chest.
Isn't that too much intellect?
But there's your heady mix, you see. You've got your poetry, you've got the thrust. It's all the same. You've got it all.
I'm so not looking forward to when you get to pick movies. But anyway, so
I've got some stunners for you.
But those parts where Bennett and Barnum were talking, I thought were really good. I really enjoyed those.
Okay. I have a confession to make to you.
Oh, you have a confession.
I have a confession to make to you.
I'm all ears.
I really enjoyed those particular parts, and when he was saying the whole.
Wait.
What?
You agree with me? Go on, say it. Say it.
I agree with you. No, it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, but you know, a bit of a humanist here when he's going the whole celebration of humanity. I'm just going, yeah, you know.
That's the one.
That's the one. So look, Bennett was very good. He was. Didn't really know how to take him in the first time I saw him. I thought, oh God, you know, this is going to be painful. But yeah, no.
But he brings out in Barnum what's happening, so you get to see that little bit of a picture, which you may not have seen in other sections.
What about the action sequences?
The action sequences.
Did you watch the whole film?
I watched it twice.
Man runs into burning building. Man comes out of burning building. Man falls over.
I didn't realise that was action.
Man doesn't die.
I didn't realise that was action. Well, no, the whole thing I thought was good.
Yes. So, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this entire podcast about films, it's just a slap across the top spoiler alerts. We're not worrying about spoiler alerts. What we're doing is we're assuming that people are going to watch the movies before they listen to us, if they are following this and they are into this sort of thing.
But we're not spoiling too much. I mean, yes, we are talking about it, but hopefully people will still watch it because they go, oh, actually, that is something I'd like to see, or, no, I'm not going near that.
No. Or they might just think, God, those two talk rubbish.
Well, that's a given.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's actually listening by this stage of the game now.
Well, maybe.
Hello?
Is anybody there? No, it's all good. Hey, it's for us. It's all good.
It's all for us.
And you, the listener, if you're there.
It's all about me.
But yeah, no, there's only one thing that I found a bit weird.
What's that?
Those pauses. You know how there was pauses when Barnum's listening to people applaud, and he's watching these people, and he looks almost stunned.
Yes.
But you know, and then suddenly,
it's
like in slow mo
or something like that.
Well, I thought he's almost looking like fear shocked. Is that? Can I use that?
Yes, but I don't know if
I thought he'd be more excited, but to me, Hugh Jackman plays it in a sort of, oh my gosh, what's all this? Oh, hang on, it's applause. Yay!
Yes.
And even one of them's not for him, it's for the Swedish Nightingale. So, I mean, I know he's got a lot tied in her.
Oh, there was a pause there.
There was a pause at the Swedish Nightingale first singing. That one. Yep. There was one when his first performance for the Museum of Oddities.
That's your attention to detail kicking in there.
No, well, to me, because it was so odd.
Some people would say OCD, but I would not be so ungenerous. Non-generous.
Anyway.
Who generous?
What I was saying was because it was so odd, that's why it made me go, And I just wanted to see if that was the same for you. Like, we disagree on everything.
It was a wrinkle in your mind.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, like when you go, oh, but that's not quite right for 19th century. What's wrong with that?
Yes.
You know? And that makes you think about
it. It irritated me.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say irritated, but it made me go, what's the go with that?
Well, look, the only one that I picked up was the first one because they made it so obvious. Yes, I know, but the first one was really obvious. And I think what they were trying to do was he had a lot riding on it and he just finished and there's a bit of disconnect from when he's concentrating on what he's doing and everybody else around him is concentrating, and then reality kicks into what's actually the reception of the audience. Pardon me.
Well, I found it very unusual, but that's just me.
Yes.
Anyway, so other people might type into our Facebook page and say, well, Pip, it's because of this, and give a proper reason. I'll go, oh, I've learned something. So if anyone out there is listening and they know why there was massive pauses and fear shot from Hugh Jackman's character Barnum, please let me know.
It was because he was on Omaha Beach. That's what it was. He ran up the beach, you see, and he was having flashbacks.
Anyway, so overall, you liked the film?
Loved it.
Yeah?
Yep. I would, look, if it comes down to how much I would give it, we're going to go on a 10-star rating because 5 stars...
well, there's so much difference
there's
between
just
4
not
and
enough
5.
stars.
No, well, between 4 and 5 could be massive where, between 9 and 10 it's
That's
smaller.
why you say 4.5.
No, I don't like
It's
that.
really the same
well,
thing.
then why wouldn't you just say 10 and 9 and 8?
Fair enough. Okay. No, as I said, we're going for 10-star rating.
Yeah.
Because Pip wants it.
Oh, yeah. Paul, how many stars?
Oh, look. I would go 7.
I'm going to cheat.
Yes.
And say as someone who wants a deep and meaningful, it's probably only a 6. As
Yep.
someone who likes it for just a fantasy family movie, I go an 8.
That's a fair assumption. Yep. But if you are looking for an intellectual,
It's probably not for you.
move right along. It's just a Hollywood fest.
Which is nice. I mean, if you're into
It's
that.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes. It's to distract people from the world around us.
And good for kidlets.
Great for kidlets.
Yeah.
You know, get them singing.
That
Yes.
too, yes.
Get them up in
Introducing
the
City.
theatre.
Oh, gosh. Well, hopefully not just theatre, hopefully music
Your
as well.
daughter's so going into theatre.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'll worry about that in the future.
So is.
That's future Pip's problem.
Yep.
So, we're going to have an interval, but before we have an interval, we're going to talk about the next movie we were about to discuss.
Yes, we are. Now,
So it's a classic
I've already
movie.
seen it, but...
It's a classic movie. And you've already
Well,
seen
that
it.
is one way of describing it, yes.
As in it's older and it's supposed to be a classic.
Yes.
But we're not-
1959
We're not discussing it now though.
No, but it's a 1959 called...
North by Northwest
Yes,
by Alfred Hitchcock.
it's a Hitchcock movie.
I've seen 3 other Hitchcock movies. I haven't seen this one, so I'm going to watch it.
Now, what is
And then we'll
specific
talk about
about
it.
Hitchcock movies that you know of?
You mean which movies have I seen?
No. There is something very specific about Alfred Hitchcock movies.
I disagree.
No, there is very... No.
Should we be discussing this now?
Yeah, no, this is fine.
Okay.
Because we've still got, 21 minutes. We're doing well.
Yay!
Yay, high five. Yes, and we haven't...
Well, I've only seen... What have I seen? I've seen Psycho.
Yes,
I've seen The Birds.
yes.
My husband made me watch... was it called Arsenic and White Lace?
Is that Alfred Hitchcock?
I thought it was Alfred Hitchcock. Is it?
Possibly.
Oh, I'll have to look it
Sure,
up now. I
why
thought it
not?
was. Oh, well, if it's not, I'll apologise for this one. I thought it
Pardon
was.
me.
So
Alfred Hitchcock
he
was...
has a twist, doesn't he?
No.
I thought he's.
Oh, there's always a twist, but he does suspense very well. That's his
That's what I meant.
hallmark,
It twists the suspense.
He is the man who does... he was the one who really was the master of suspense of his day.
Which Hitchcock movies have you seen?
I've
Besides
seen,
North and Northwest.
I've seen Psycho. I've seen North by Northwest. I've seen Birds. And I think I saw one other, but it was in black and white, so I forgot about it. I'm such a good person for this podcast. I really am. I'm not here for the comedy value, kids. I know nothing about movies. I really don't. We're not experts here, guys, by the way. Just so you know, we're just here to have a bit of fun and discuss some old films. And maybe you'll see a movie that you'll be dredged up from the recesses of your memory and go, wow, I'm glad I'll rewatch that again. But after watching a couple of these films, probably not.
Well, if people don't like it, they can put a list up on our Facebook and we'll change what we're watching, maybe,
Look,
depending on what it is.
North by, I'm sure, yeah, everybody go and watch North by Northwest. It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. But what I got distracted. What I was trying to say is he developed the first Easter eggs in the movie. Oh. He has a little cameo, and he's very famously inserts himself into it.
Like even the silhouette, yeah.
Yes, and he's very... he tries to put it in, and it becomes a competition between the audience to pick where he...
Taika Waititi does it too. Well, I don't know if he does it, but he seems to.
No,
at
I
least
think
do it.
he's just a drama queen who just likes to put himself in movies.
I'm trying to think of anyone else who
No, but
directs
like the
and does it.
cameos are really short.
Oh, yeah,
They're
no,
really,
I remember
really
in The
short.
Birds, I think it was just him releasing a
Yes.
goose or a duck or something.
Be free!
They're all hunting and then he just goes whoosh. But anyway, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna have an intermission and we'll come back.
We'll come back to it, and by all means, go watch it.
Or wait till we've watched and then decide whether you watch it.
and watch Cary Grant melt your heart. He's the leader.
You can't tell me this.
No,
I haven't
I
seen
know.
it.
Oh,
Don't ruin it for me.
I won't. I promise.
You're giving me that look that says you're gonna hate it, and I love that you're gonna hate it.
You'll be fine, Pip. Okay, guys, go and watch the movie, and we'll be back after this intermission music.
supposed to say that?
Well, I beat you to the punch. Sorry.
I tell you what. Anyway, I hope we all had fun during our intermission.
I did.
You got a nice cold drink, you're set.
I'm good. I'm very good. Okay.
All right, what was the second movie?
North by Northwest.
All right, 1959 Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Now, before we start, I have to say I made a mistake.
You did?
Yes, that movie, Arsenic and Old Lace, is not an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
It's not.
No, it's an old movie, but it's not an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Anybody we know?
I had it written down, but not on that piece of paper, so do you know what? I'll have to look it up for the next one.
People, if you're curious at all, and I wouldn't be, just Google it.
Oh, but no, it wasn't a good movie.
Well, no, because it was made in 1959.
No, I don't know what year it was made in now.
Oh,
I know it was in black and white and I didn't like it.
I thought we were talking about this one.
Oh. Well, you can't... Okay, well, let's tell people the storyline of the movie.
Go for it.
So there's a man, Roger Thornhill, who's played by Cary Grant. He's...
A madman-style character.
Is he?
Well, he's an advertising man. He's got very slick back hair. And he's got his head stuck up his ass.
Anyway, he's mistaken for another man and is kidnapped and asked to do... We didn't even find out what he was supposed to do. Anyway, so spends the whole movie trying to find this mystery guy who he's supposed to be.
Yes.
And having this men's thugs hunt him down, etc., etc.
Superbly retold.
Well, that's as... I've sort of went, how is this... It's basically him just trying to find someone and running away from everyone else.
Right.
It was a 2 hour and 16-minute film, and it felt like it too. Oh my gosh, it was. For me, I'm gonna cut right in here.
Go, stick it to it.
For me, it had an interesting storyline, but what could have taken 5 or even 2 minutes to say, they lengthened each scene out for like 15 or 20 minutes, and the dialogue just kept going, and you're thinking. They could have already moved on now. When are they going to move on?
So they completely Lord of the Rings did they?
Like worse.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yep.
But that's what I mean. I was sitting there looking at my watch going, wow, I can't believe this film is still going. Why are they still talking here? Why haven't they moved on? It was very frustrating.
Yep. It was, for me, I felt that it was, if I can put it into a category, I'd say it was mildly entertaining at places.
It had a good storyline. Some of the scenes were just so awesomely shot. I like the scene where they were looking down from, was it the Ambassador building or whatever it was? Yep. And they're watching him run there. And also when he was at the bus stop and they're looking down the road.
Yep.
But then they kept doing that shot.
Yep.
And I thought, why have they just left it at one shot? Why
Maybe
they
he was short on
times?
inspiration. Maybe he couldn't help himself. I think he must have been...
They could have cut 45 minutes of this film and still had the same thing. But better.
They could have made it a 90-minute thriller, like all the others. But no, it was a knockdown, drag-out, absolute wet affair. It was... Look, it was okay. And considering it was 1959, it was probably quite... I'm sure I understand now why it was a classic. But... I don't know about you, but I sat through the whole thing going, or 3/4 of the way through it, I'm just going, God damn, this film is so cliched. And then I realised, this is the film they took all the cliches from and made them into all the other cliches.
I wouldn't say the whole film was cliche. I think Cary Grant was cliche.
Don't get me started on Cary Grant.
What did you think of Cary Grant, Paul?
I thought, first of all, he's supposed to have been a good-looking guy, yes?
Oh, yeah?
Well, the girl seemed... I mean, the girl was stunning. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she could knock out people from any time period. You know, a beautiful woman. But that block of wood that they call Cary Grant, I mean, seriously, was that what a good-looking guy was back in the 50s?
Oh, look, to me, it wasn't that. It was the fact that you couldn't warm to his character. So, you know, if he'd been played by a guy who was frightened and confused and was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? More than him just going, oh, I'm slightly frightened. Maybe a little bit confused, but I'll just stand here and look like this. And I thought, well, he wasn't really the right character for that. They could have really made it.
They should have got an actor. No, they should have. They really should have. They should have got somebody who could act. And there's plenty of good actors out there. Richard Burton. You had Richard, what's his face? The guy who was in Gladiator, who died at the end of Gladiator, at the start of Gladiator, who was Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, I can't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Something around, but he was out and about. He could have been.
Oh, there would have been heaps.
Basically,
you could have thrown a stick and hit anyone.
Basically, if they'd got a British actor, right, who'd been on the stage, who could at least act.
Oh, he didn't even. But it was just the fact that you couldn't warm to his character, and the fact is,
there was no character. That's my whole point.
And therefore, it made it hard for their relationship because you're thinking, well, hang on, why does she like him? Why is she warm to him?
Yeah.
I don't understand how this has happened.
Come on, you can do better than this. Seriously, it was.
Well, no, it just didn't. It didn't sort of act right. And then also their scenes would go for long times, and he would keep saying cliche things.
Oh,
and I'm thinking.
Just before we move on to other things further afield, can we please discuss the point, the relevancy that is the mother? Because. I'm sorry, I don't understand what she was doing there. Not only was did she irritate you?
I think what the problem is that she was there to show him as a bit of a mummy's boy, but because he didn't act like a mummy's boy, it was irrelevant, and their relationship was just weird. Yeah,
they spoke to each. Possibly it was a breakdown. I thought her acting was okay, but it was okay. She put inflection and, she used punctuation and things like that. Like she was able to get from one end of a sentence to the other, as opposed to her son, who would just mumble his way through whatever lines he had.
The thing was, he wasn't a mummy's boy, and he's acting like a mummy's boy, like going, oh, I've got to call mother and this, but he's not acting like that.
No.
So he could have been a bit of a mummy's boy, and that would have helped us warm to him a bit, like he's a guy that needs.
I would argue that requires acting.
We really need to watch another Cary Grant film.
Oh, look, he's probably a fine actor in something else because he couldn't have become famous on the strength of that.
Do you know what I will do? I will look up and see if he's won any awards and what it was in, and we'll watch that.
It was all corrupt. It all came down to money, though.
We'll see. We'll have a look. That will be my job to do.
Because he is now our poster boy for world's worst actor. Seriously.
Well, let's see, because he might go, wow, Pip, that film with Cary Grant was awesome. And I'll go, okay, thanks for that, Paul.
I take it all back.
But no, the mum thing would have worked with a different actor, with maybe some slightly different dialogue, or I don't even know, maybe something else.
Yep.
But it didn't work. They could not gel together because he wasn't a mummy's boy. It didn't work out. I could see what they were trying to do with her, but it didn't work out at all.
Yep.
So
it was funny watching. Actually, remember when they had the police car? He backed into the police car that had been chasing him, and I'm just thinking, to be in the 50s and white, you can just back into the police car and not get shot in the back of the head with about 12 rounds.
And get let go later on.
Yes. Just sleep it off in the cell. You'll be right. You scamp.
It was weird, wasn't it?
But that must have been the norm, I guess. So yes, go the 50s. It was. Oh God, it was just. It wasn't awful. There were parts of it that made it. As I said, it gets it across the line because there are parts in it and there are performances in it that are very good. But oh God, there are certain people who should be dragged out in the middle of the field and had a plane chase them around for a while and shoot them with real fucking bullets.
Do you mean people or person?
Possibly one. Yes, there is one that comes to mind. Yes.
Anyway.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. When's this going to end? Oh my gosh! It's been going for 15
Sounds
minutes
like you
already.
had more of an emotional response to it than what I did.
Well, no, I just thought the storyline was there. It could have gone somewhere very interesting, but dialogue and the way it was acted out and the length of the scenes.
Did you come to the movie wanting to hate it?
No. I actually
There's the difference, and you were disappointed.
I was disappointed.
Yes.
Only because I thought, it's Alfred Hitchcock, come on.
I wanted to come to it and hate it.
Why?
Because you picked it.
Is that the only reason?
Oh, it's good enough. But anyway.
Is this going to happen to every movie I pick?
Yes. Not quite. I'm sure there'll be some good movies you'll pick, but this one clearly wasn't one of them. But look, I don't know. As I said, I'm sitting there, perched up in bed, watching it, couldn't sleep anyway, and I'm thinking, well, if I can't sleep and I've got to stare at the ceiling, might as well be watching this. So,
you know how I normally try and watch the movie twice before we sit here and talk about it?
couldn't do it.
I couldn't sit through it a second time.
No,
I couldn't.
Once is enough.
I sat through it once and went, wow.
It's not a repeat viewing.
And what was weird was that last scene. You know, the last scene where he's going to her, come on, I've got you. And then suddenly they're just in the, they've just cut through to them in the train. And I thought, so he's done all this extra long extended stuff, in parts that are unimportant. And he could have done something really interesting with the end of it, like even shot differently so that he's actually helping her up and it actually moves on to him helping her up there. The scene didn't quite move well for me. And I thought, like, it's the last scene and the movie was already not doing great and then you just ruin it anyway at the end.
They could have been looking off into the distance on the cliff top.
Oh, no, but as in they could have even shot it differently and made it look more interesting. To me, it just made them go like, oh, wow, we have been going for 2 hours and 14 minutes and 30 seconds. I better just make
Alfred,
it end.
the budget's up. You've wasted too much money on this crap.
I was just really frustrated. I'm like, well, that's it. I'm not watching it a second time. I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it. There were scenes that I liked, like at the very start when the credits are rolling in there, and then it pans into the skyscraper, and I thought, oh, that looks really interesting. I thought, they're going to have interesting shots. This is going to be a great film. And then I went, oh.
Now, can I ask you, because there was a few things that I came away with that I found that they were bad, but by 1959 standards, everything's bad. But they were bad, but there was something that was very disjointed in the action sequence. When he's out in the middle of nowhere, and the plane comes and starts shooting at him, right, and he goes to the corner and then dumps all the chemicals on him and flushes him out of there, sort of thing. Was there anything in there that, in particular, that kind of threw you off in that sequence?
And there was a couple of things, but what in particular were you referring to?
What are those couple of things?
The fact that they could have been shooting at him every time they went down at him rather than just flying down at him. But I guess you can't kill the main character because that would have ended the movie quicker and got everyone out.
Well, I'll tell you, the movie wasn't the only slow thing. The bullets coming out of the plane were really slow because the plane had already flown past before the bullets hit the ground. I
did notice that too.
Thank you. Because I'm just going, because it threw me. I'm sitting there thinking, is there somebody in the cornfield shooting at him or something?
No. I just assumed that, as they've gone past, they've like dropped stuff.
Yeah, and then I realised
meant to be bullets.
I just thought, oh no, they've just completely mucked it. So.
Oh no, it just would have been at that time. They would have said, oh, well, how do we do this? As he's flying past, we'll just drop things that look like bullets. And that will save us money, and because all we have to do is drop them, and it just goes bang, bang, bang on the dirt.
Awful, genuinely awful.
It wasn't the worst movie ever.
No, but that sequence was terrible. Oh. It's probably what they blew 80% of the budget on for that.
Well, isn't that what everyone thinks about when they think of this movie? Is that scene?
Well, it's on they covered up the plane and the suspense.
I mean, so many people take off that scene.
I found it more tense. Like there were genuinely tense periods in the movie. So if it's tense now through our jaded and callous eyes, it must have had people absolutely on the edge of the cliff.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. But what I'm saying is it could have been really good if they'd just made a few little changes, but of course they haven't, and that's what.
Would you recommend this film to people?
No. I couldn't do it because it's such a long film. I would say you may like this tiny bit, but maybe fast forward to it.
Yep.
And don't bother watching those bits.
I would recommend this film to people with the caveat that don't watch it to be entertained because you're asking too much. But if you can watch it with the eye of seeing his style and possibly and some of the things that were done for the first time. It was a groundbreaking film.
Oh, no,
there was a lot of things that were done for the very first time. All those spy thrillers and everything like that, they all were spawned out of this movie.
Oh, I know, I get that, yeah.
So,
that's what I mean, the storyline had some really interesting ideas in it.
But I mean, it was just, by today's standards, it had no hope. But you see other movies that were like Lawrence of Arabia and other films like that, that are as old and poorly paced I mean, Lawrence of Arabia just goes on for like a decade.
That's just as painful.
It is, but it's beautifully painful. It's exquisite pain.
No, I found it really difficult to sit through that one.
Really?
I'm not even going to put that in the classic. If you choose it for your favourites, there's going to be trouble.
I'll just put that in my back pocket.
Things like, but maybe it's just me, because things like Ben-Hur and Lawrence of Arabia and things like that, ones that are longer than they need to be, that don't just say, well, this has happened.
Because everybody wanted to put the stamp epic on their movie, particularly after Ben-Hur.
I know, but it just made the film longer than it had to be. There was important scenes. Yes, you can see the ones that have made people go, wow. But there's maybe, half an hour of it within a 3-hour film or whatever, how long it was.
Yep.
So, to me, that was just painful getting to the bits you actually wanted to see. So, nowadays you can just fast forward. By
our standards today, it was a genuinely painful film to watch. I think most people who are just, look, I guess what we're trying to do with this podcast is bring films that people wouldn't normally think about, sort of thing, and we'll occasionally come across something that's, like Casablanca or something like that. You've heard it's good, you don't know if it's worth you sitting down and wasting your 2 hours or anything like that, and we'll sit down and watch it, and maybe if we enjoy it, then you'll be able to go, maybe.
Well, hopefully this saves people time, because we might go, that's fabulous, go and watch it, and they go, oh, okay, I'll go and watch it. Or if we go, oh my gosh, that was worth 2 hours and 16 minutes of my life, don't do it. They might go, oh, well, actually, no, I've got other movies that I'd like to watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, North by Northwest was clearly not worth that much time of your life.
Well, no, but at least I can say I've watched
90 minutes of it?
I have to admit, at 1 hour and 38 minutes, I was sort of going, okay, what else
I was smiling. when it was going on to the 2 hour mark, I was smiling and I'm thinking, Pip picked this one.
No, but it's not one of my favourites. It was the classic film.
It's interesting to hear your opinion on it, actually. Can I ask why you picked it in the first place?
Because I went through a list of classic films that people said you must watch and are fabulous classic films, and I thought, I haven't seen it. Okay. And it's an Alfred Hitchcock film.
Right.
It must be awesome.
Did you pick where Hitchcock was?
Yes. At the very start, he didn't manage to get on the bus.
Correct answer. Yes.
And I thought, oh no, he's at the very start, and then you got 2 hours of film where he's not in it.
Yes. Well, you did not want to distract. He did not want to distract people away from the mesmerising drudgery that was that movie. But look, the upside of it, the girl was a superb actor. I thought she was excellent.
Oh, she did really well.
She did. She held the whole film together. The villain, not too bad.
Can I say, he was all right.
He was okay. He was okay. Be nice.
Can I just say that I like the last line that he says in the film.
Go on.
Because, what happened... don't listen if you haven't watched it and you're planning on watching it.
Wasn't the last line he said, ah!
No, I meant his boss, Van Damme.
Oh, okay.
And you go, because, remember, they've actually shot him across the gorge and he's fallen down and he's gone, using real bullets, that's unsporting.
Yeah, no, that was good.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. There was a couple of funny moments in it. And Cary Grant cracked a joke. It was not a funny joke. Yes, see?
Did I miss that?
Yes, you missed his funny joke.
Out. When was the funny joke?
When he was in the back of the police car. That was his comedic period.
No, you're going to have
where he was showing his comedic chutzpah.
No, I need more information.
Oh, yeah, he needed more.
No, what did he say?
Oh, no, I can't remember what the actual line was, but he was trying to be funny.
It must have been hilarious.
Oh, look, I was gut laughing. No, I wasn't.
I was going to say, really? Oh, gosh, I'm gullible.
But, I mean, it was him trying to be funny. And I thought, well, if he can't act, he sure as shit can't do comedy, so just give up.
Oh, it was terrible. Like, even that scene where he walks in the hospital, he goes through the window and that woman goes, ah! And she goes, oh. And he goes, no. I'm thinking, well, hang on, it's weird. She would surely still be screaming if he walked through. It's just crazy. To me, it wasn't... They were trying to be funny and it just wasn't making
It's going to be interesting when you start selecting other films and you're going through the original cast and you see Cary Grant there.
Oh, no.
You'll have to put at least one more Cary Grant up.
No, I will be putting up one more Cary Grant film. Because I was going through looking and Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint, they've done tons and tons of films. So I'm sure I'll have to go and find a couple just to make sure.
She's on tons and tons of films because A, she's beautiful, and B, she can act. What? She can. She's really good.
I know,
by
she
her
was
standards.
fabulous.
By her age standards.
Oh, look, she did beautifully, but I will probably get one more Cary Grant film just to see if it's the same. And if it is, I'll just go, right, every Cary Grant film is being written off, but we can't write him off until we've seen at least 2. That's the rule.
No, I'm fair. But let's put this one down as a solid fail, shall we?
Yeah, I wouldn't say solid fail. I actually sat through the whole thing. If I hadn't managed to sit through the whole thing, then it's a fail.
Carbon tungsten fail.
Well, okay, out of 10, what do you give it?
Cary Grant's performance?
No, the whole film, thank you.
Because I just want to delve into the negatives there. Look, I'll be generous and give it a 4.
I would probably give it a 5.
Right.
But only because
you are more generous with films than I am.
I am, and there was a couple of little bits I didn't like, but as it was a 2-hour film, the percentage drops. It was what those good things are worth.
5, 4, 3, 2. I'm turning it off.
Well, I didn't turn it off, so that's got to say something.
Yeah, it says that you persevere through an enormous amount of crap.
Well, that was our first podcast. We've made one.
We've made a podcast.
Whoa.
Whether it ever gets on the internet or not, I don't know. We got.
That's future Pip and future Paul's issue.
Yes, that's.
If it ever does get online, which let's hope it does, we're watching 2 more movies for the next podcast, and that's our obscure and our favourites, or more to the point, Paul's favourite.
Yay!
So the obscure film is Life is Beautiful.
No, I'm not picking that.
No, the obscure film is Life is Beautiful.
Right. Your
favourite film is?
The Beast of War. This is my long-term most favourite film of all time. It's a B-grade rubbish movie, and I love it.
And I have to watch it.
Yep.
Yay. Awesome. So that will be the 2 movies we talk about next time.
Yep.
And we hope you've enjoyed listening to us talk about movies. I don't think we've talked that much about fabulous stuff, but we'll see. I'm sure you'll say lots about your favourite film, and I'll say lots too.
Oh, I think you'll enjoy it.
Do you?
Look,
You're giving me that look like, ha ha ha, evil thoughts, Pip's going to have to watch rubbish.
No, it's not rubbish. It's not rubbish, but I think you'll enjoy it for the simple fact of the matter is it's a bit of a psychological thriller. It's all about what goes on in the mind. And I think you're a little bit that way inclined.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see next time. So, awesome.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much from me, and I'm out.
Are you out?
You're supposed to say something like, and thank you very much from me.
Oh, is that how it works? Sorry.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. God damn.
We'll practice that. Sorry.
We are so professional. All right. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Catch you later. Bye.